Hey babe, I need to talk to you. Really talk, heart wide open, no filters, no polite masks, just the raw and trembling truth of where I'm standing tonight. If you can give me the next few minutes, I promise I'll lay everything on the line so you can see the storm I'm walking into and understand why, even in the eye of that storm, I still press forward with a strange, defiant hope. All the laughter that once shimmered down the hallway. That sanctuary is about to become a battlefield, and I'm the one holding the match that could set the bridge ablaze. I made a decision. No, I embraced a conviction, and that conviction happens to be the one thing my family refuses to accept. You might ask, what decision could be so catastrophic that it risks the roof over your head? It's simple yet, to them, unforgivable. I want to build my future with you. I want to marry you. I want to stand in front of the world, rain, sun, lightning, or calm, and say, this is the person I choose. For them, it sounds like heresy. I wish I could promise they'll eventually understand, that they'll invite you to the dinner table and learn the melody of your laughter. But every conversation ends in the same crescendo of anger, disappointment, and brittle silence. Their vision of my life is an ornate cage. Polished, comfortable, but still a cage. Inside are all the comforts they imagine I need: financial stability, social approval, a paved future. But outside is the sky, and that sky has your name written across it like a banner. The moment I told them I was serious, dead serious, about being with you, I watched the warmth drain from their faces. My mother's fingers trembled against the dining table seam. My father's jaw locked so tight I feared a tooth might crack. Words like betrayal, ingratitude, and reckless ricocheted around the room. They spoke as though loving you were a moral failing, a seismic error destined to fracture not only my life, but theirs as well. And from their vantage point, maybe it does feel that way because our love upends the tidy narrative they've been writing for years. I tried compromise. I tried diplomacy disguised as gentleness and passion disguised as logic. I offered them time to see the kindness in your eyes, the generosity in your spirit, the way you make dull rooms glow. They refused every olive branch. In their reasoning, if I persist, the only leverage they have left is the house, the roof, the walls, the comfort I've taken for granted. They'll revoke it like monarchs exiling a dissenting knight. And here's the cruel irony. That house has never felt smaller than it does now that I know my invitation there is conditional. But let me breathe, because I don't want to drown you in panic. There's more, and it's vital you understand the heart that beats underneath the terror. I am not choosing you merely to defy them. Nah, I'm choosing you because the first time you looked at me, really looked at me, I felt seen in a way I never knew was possible. With you, I don't have to be the pristine, obedient version of myself. I get to be messy, curious, brave, and sometimes afraid. You meet every version of me without flinching. That safety, that acceptance is the rarest treasure I've ever held. So yes, if they force my hand, I will pack a single suitcase, kiss the doorframe one last time, and step onto the street with your picture as my North Star. I'm terrified. My shoulders quake at night when I imagine the chill of exile, but my terror is not bigger than my conviction. I keep picturing an apartment that smells like fresh coffee and wet paint, sunlight pooling on our shared kitchen table, half-read books splayed open on the couch because we fell asleep mid-conversation. I picture laughing about burnt toast at dawn and slow dancing in the small hours to music no one else can hear. Those visions are bright enough to guide me through any darkness. Before the eviction becomes literal, there's a narrow corridor of time where things could shift. I could recant, choose the safe route, tell them it was a phase. They'd welcome me back into the fold, set the house alarm, tuck me in the familiar bed, and pretend none of this ever happened. But every cell in my body rejects that scenario because the price of that comfort is you. It's us. And that price is beyond anything I'm willing to pay. I'm telling you all this because I don't want you blindsided if the earth tilts beneath our feet. I'm not asking you to rescue me, though your arms around me might feel like rescue. I'm asking you to stand beside me as I step into the unknown. I'm asking if you're willing to co-author this messy, magnificent chapter. I've done the math, the practical math. My savings can cover 3 months of rent in a modest place. After that, we'll need a sturdier plan. I'll take extra shifts, sell the guitar I hardly play, tutor, freelance, whatever it takes. I'm not romanticizing hardship. I'm simply prioritizing love. I'd rather struggle in authenticity than prosper in pretense. Of course, there are nights when fear tightens around my ribs and whispers worst-case scenarios. What if we struggle and resentment creeps in? What if, in saving me, I drown you? What if I lose my family and in some cruel twist, I lose you too? Those questions are sharp. They draw blood. But whenever they surface, I remember how steadily you meet uncertainty with wonder instead of dread, and courage blooms again. I'd be lying if I said this choice doesn't break my heart in places. My family are not monsters. They're simply bound by traditions older than my own heartbeat. Their love is real, even if it's conditional. Walking away will bruise us all. I'll miss Sunday breakfasts and my dad's terrible jokes and the way my mom folds towels into perfect thirds. But love that demands self-erasure is not love. It's control. And control is a cold substitute for genuine belonging. Maybe one day they'll soften. Maybe they'll see that choosing you didn't ruin me. It redeemed me. Perhaps they'll watch us build something honest and resilient and realize they misread the map. Until then, I have to choose the truth that lives in my chest over the comfort that lives in their walls. I want to paint this picture with every shade I can find, because if we leap together, I want no corner of the canvas left blank. Remember that tiny coastal town we drove through last spring? The one with the cracked promenade and the fishermen mending their nets at sunrise? I keep replaying that morning. Us sipping lukewarm coffee from a dented thermos, sea spray tangling your hair, gulls scolding the sky. You laughed, head back, eyes closed, and in that exact instant I thought, if I ever wager everything on one gamble, let it be for the chance to wake up to this laughter for the rest of my life. That memory has become my compass. Whenever doubt snarls, I send it back to that shoreline where everything felt possible. I also need you to know I'm not idolizing us. I see the flaws, the inevitable disagreements over rent and dishes and whose turn it is to pick the movie. I see the weight of responsibility settling on our shoulders like an unasked-for cloak. There will be evenings when exhaustion sandpapers my voice, mornings when silence fogs up the room, and stretches of uncertainty where both of us wonder whether we left too soon. In those moments, let's pledge to return to conversation, to vulnerability, to stubborn tenderness. Let's promise to fight the problem, not each other, and remember that the love worth protecting lives in the fragile space between our two chests. You might wonder about the practical fallout. Where will I sleep the first night? How will I handle work? What about health insurance? What about the belongings I can't fit into a suitcase? I've drafted a provisional map. My friend Mara has offered her couch for a week or two. After that, there's a sublet near the river, small, drafty, but within walking distance of the park where we once spent an entire Sunday sketching clouds. I'm speaking with my manager about switching to remote Thursdays so I can save on transit and maybe pick up tutoring gigs in the evenings. It's a patchwork, but every patch is stitched with determination. And when the loneliness of leaving family strikes, because it will, like a sudden winter gust, Here's what I propose. We create new rituals. Sunday pancakes and coffee mugs when the dishes are scarce. Wednesday walks to the bookstore where the owner lets us read poetry out loud. Friday dance parties in the kitchen to songs our parents would call noise. We'll stitch a quilt of small joys so the absence of old traditions doesn't leave us shivering. Maybe a year from now, those rituals will feel as sacred as the ones I'm giving up. Finally, let me whisper a fragile hope. I believe that love lived out loud, messy, resilient, unapologetic, can soften even the hardest judgments. I believe my parents' certainty may fracture when they see the steady gleam in my eyes, a gleam that only shines because of you. I can't promise reconciliation, but I refuse to rule it out. Human hearts are living things, and living things can change when they're touched by evidence of joy. So while I'm ready to leave, I'm not abandoning the dream of one day inviting my mother to taste your cinnamon sugar French toast, or hearing my father ask you about the books that shaped your childhood. Hope, like water, finds a way. That's everything, every fear, every strategy, every trembling dream. If your heart says we're ready, let's step into this wild unknown with our backs straight and our hands clasped. If your heart hesitates, speak that hesitance. Truth is the only currency we can spend without regret. Either way, thank you for being my confidant, my compass, my haven in the storm. Loving you has already made me braver than I believed possible, and that bravery will light whatever road lies ahead. Always, always yours, your name,